remember January 2020, right? In fact, for some people, remember Dirty December, right? And then we came into January 2020, and it started out, like this image. Everything was working. We were ready to make 2020 rock. We set our goals, New Year resolutions, different things we were going to make happen. And it was all rocking, right, Tayo?
Absolutely.
Good. Q1, January was good, February was good, everything was on. And then March, boom, the pandemic struck. It became something like this. We all had to sort of deal with it. It was crisis, lots of energy, having to stay at home. Some people thought it would be 2 weeks, it would be 1 month, and here we are several months later. What happened to your goals when all of this was going on? So where do we go from here? Guys, the only way to go is forward.
So the first is, we're going to cover 3 things. The first is review. Remember, the theme for the program is review, reset, reload. So we're going to gain closure on the first half of the year through the lessons that we can learn from the first half of the year. We're going to reset by clearly articulating goals that we would like to achieve in the second half of the year. We'll move to the third thing, which is to reload. What does that mean? It means creating a new or updating our execution plan for achieving the goals.
So review speaks to looking again. So I'd like you to think about those goals you set at the beginning of the year, because what we want you to do is to look at your goals again. Write down things that you accomplished. I want you to write them down, because it takes something when you see your goals in writing. Like the proverbial coin, there's the other side of the coin. Of course, I know that many of us also have had disappointments this year. Disappointments are those things that did not happen the way we wanted. Here's the key thing. Whether they were accomplishments or they were disappointments, the most important thing you can do with them is to create lessons. So here is where we're going to create value. I want you to think about those accomplishments that you listed. Look at them. And I want you to determine what lessons can you learn from achieving those accomplishments. And then you look at your disappointments as well. Is there anything you could have done differently? And those lessons are the valuable things we can take into the future. So here's what we're going to do. I need you to think about these lessons that you have created. How can you convert those lessons into guidelines? All right, let's move on to reset, because that's something that is guiding H2. Remember, most sports, there's always a halftime. So let's use football. Games are won or lost during halftime. Halftime is an opportunity for you to change your players, change your game, become more, increase your attacking game or increase your defensive game. Because you know what? Life itself is a game and it's up to you. So this halftime that we've just passed through, how can you make sure you are creating a strategy for winning? And the key thing is to reset. Reset means set again. So this is an opportunity to set new goals for H2. We have 5 months to go, 5 whole months to make it happen. And it depends on the goals you set. Your success depends on the goals that you set. We're going to go through a simple exercise to define your goals for the next 5 months, H2. And in doing that, we'll take some time to recognize your reality, especially as it relates to these goals. So let's define our goals. What do you want to achieve in H2? Now, irrespective of how challenging you think the goal will be, the rest of the session is going to be, how can we help you make it less challenging? What are the things that you can do to make a goal less challenging? The first thing is you need to recognize your reality. What is your reality today relative to this goal that you have set? And only you can recognize it, right? What is the one thing that is working in your favor in achieving this goal? I want you to think about it and write it down. And then the question is, how will you capitalize on this thing? So I want you to think and reflect. Think about this goal that you have set as well. What is the greatest challenge that is standing in your way? What is the one thing that could be a challenge for you achieving this goal? It's not enough to just set goals. You have to think about the things that will work for you or possibly work against you.
So the next step is to break down your project. So you have to plan H2. H2 is not just going to happen organically. If you don't plan H2 strategically, you never find the right opportunities to achieve those goals. So a lot about being successful and making H2 one of the best, a great half of the year or second half of the year is that you have to think ahead, think strategically, design it in your mind, create an architecture of what success looks like in your mind, and then you start to implement it every day. Without that architecture, it's hard to stay focused on your goal. So break down your project into milestones. What should you have completed by when? So what can you complete in your project by the end of August? What can you complete in your project by the end of October, November, December? Write those milestones down so that you can keep track of your progress. If you don't have milestones, you're going to get to the end of the year and realize that, oh, I'm only 20% done, or I'm only 50% done. But that's because you weren't tracking your milestones.
Now that you have these goals written fully, you have made sure it's specific, you have thought about some projects, you probably have been able to create some milestones in the process as well. What next? So here's some advice from us. There's nothing that drives the achievement of your goals like accountability. No matter how good the goals you've written, so all you have done up until now, there's nothing that is going to ensure your success like being accountable. Because accountability is what ties the commitment to results. Accountability is the ability to review and course correct regularly. So no matter how good the goal is, which is why it's important to set milestones, at every milestone, you should look at the goal and ask yourself, am I where I intended to be? If yes, celebrate, right? Reward yourself even. If no, don't crucify yourself. The simple question is this: what am I going to do to get back on track? That is the most useful thing, and that is the power of accountability.